so thrilled to be presenting his video work, the First Light series, tonight. A work that's been in progress for almost 20 years that really plays with a lot of themes of dark energy and dark matter all the way from the beginning of time through our culture today. And we're lucky to be joined with some wonderful collaborators. We have a trio of Matt Shipp, Michael Vizio, and Jason K.O. Wang, along with poets Amma Birch and David Henderson. These are all longtime neighbors and friends of the 4th Street Photo Gallery in the East Village, which Alex has run for almost 50 years. And we're also going to be featuring in his video, The First Light, some words from the late John Ferris on the eve of the 20th anniversary of 9/11.
Brother Eric Garner. On his way to the grocery store, Eric Garner had no loose cigarettes to sell to those who lacked the funds to invest in a $13 pack of smokes. But even though Garner, a big black affable guy, had just saved the idle posse of plainclothes cops the trouble of breaking up a fight, those same cops decided on the spot to arrest him anyway on some obscure aspect of their mission to interdict the sale of untaxed cigarettes to indigent tobacco addicts. Guilt or no guilt, Eric Garner would fulfill the Staten Island cop quota in or out of the moment. Garner was known to those local cops, and they were known to Garner. Here they go again. His denial did not prevent his arrest. For a man going to the store for his wife and kids, a family man of love and peace, overweight, diabetic, with heart troubles, and another due process on tap, Garner balks and then just as quickly agrees to cooperate, with being detained rather than blowing his top over an inevitable situation. But the shortest and thinnest of the cops, wearing a New York Yankees cap, creeps up behind Garner and has to leap as again to gain an arm around his neck. His arm bent at elbow is grasped by his other hand, making a ligature beyond Garner's chin. A video beholds the illegal chokehold. As with the other 4 cops, Garner is taken down. They are seeking to handcuff him behind his back, as if he had been caught in the commission of some crime. Garner says that I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, and then 10 more times of distinct repetition, having only those few breaths left before his death. Had Garner perhaps turned and grabbed that little leaping cop before he could attempt that illegal chokehold, Garner might be alive today had he slammed down as many of those criminal cops as possible and fought them like a father protecting his family. This is called Sandra Bland. Oh, yeah. DOA before justice. DOA before justice. Texas traffic laws concerning motorists yielding to emergency vehicles. When you see an emergency vehicle with red lights flashing and a warning siren, you should immediately move or as near as possible to the right curb or edge of the road to create the clear path of the emergency vehicle to pass on the left. A lovely 28-year-old young woman of African American descent driving alone on a desolate plain road leading in the deep south, Texas, USA. The flashing lights of an emergency vehicle, a police car comes up fast behind her. She pulls over at once and discovers the police vehicle with lights flashing is following her to the side of the road. And some traffic cop official with a Texas Ranger Stetson, badge and gun comes out from the squad car and stands at her driver's side window. They are alone on some desolate old Paris road deep in the Old South. She is attractive, sassy, and speaks of her constitutional rights. But when she refuses to put out her cigarette while seated in her car, this official will eventually order her out of her car at the point of a gun and force her to the ground, her hands behind her back, and lock together her hands with cuffs, tight as can be, pain that causes her to cry out, complaints that are ignored. Attractive, sassy, and cussing, she calls him out of his name. To her, he is the motherfucker, and to him, she is the potential mother who will die. For her failure to signal, citizen Sandra Bland was arrested. 3 days later, she was DOA before justice. Quote, it is said she was found hanging from a cell partition with a long plastic bag tied around her head. The fingers that shape the ligature bind with knowledge of the noose. The fingers that shape the ligature bind with knowledge of the noose. An hour before, an old black trustee woman said she saw Sandra Bland at 8 a.m. in her cell through the peek hole, and that she requested that a 9 a.m. telephone call be given her. She was told that that would be possible an hour later. They seemed to stress their agreement as if that was some kind of understanding that she was alive at 8 a.m. and continuously up until around 9 a.m. when Sandra Bland was discovered deceased. She could have been dead for 3 days. There was a possibility that the entire telephone appointment was simply to reinforce the trustee, none of whom seemed to have any names, play acting concerning whether Sandra Bland was alive or not. No one except the trustee could hear her voice while Bland was inside of the cell. And that furthermore, therefore, the police's autopsy never questioned the time of death, and that the private autopsy the family had done was not made available to the public, at least according to the record. There was also a camera inside of Sandra Bland's cell that was strangely not working. One would think they would provide her with a cell that had a functioning camera recording what had gone on. Sandra Bland's last recorded voice was from her iPhone tape recording during her violent arrest at the hands of the policeman who was later fired for making a false arrest and banned from ever being a law enforcement officer again in any jurisdiction. The reliance on the trustees' words were quite surprising. It was heard said that their testimony was very central to the verdict, the understanding that Bland had meant no harm. Yet it was also understood that their testimony had no standing, since they were not credible as witnesses due to their criminal statuses. It would have been good to hear what Bland had to say about her situation 3 days after her captivity in a cell that had no camera, that recorded her treatment. Whatever treatment she was afforded is an unknown. It is clear the police would never testify against one another, and it is also clear that her post-death examination and autopsy never included use of a rape kit or an independent autopsy. Okay. Not only was Sandra Bland falsely arrested, but her 3-day captivity has no documentation outside of the police authorities' word. There was a film of the outside of Bland's cell and even footage of the trustees checking the cell through the peephole at 9 a.m. when she is discovered hanging. That was immediately called a suicide. No one else was shown to look through the peephole before that time to verify she was alive. It was the voices, the words of the trustees and the police that were the only counsel in that judgment. It was a local government employee who declared Sandra Bland dead, and that was by suicide, and that was that. The fingers that shape the ligature bind with knowledge of the noose. The fingers that shape the ligature bind with knowledge of the noose. The figure who ties the ligature, amateur successful on first try, suicide, the police say. Sandra Bland, citizen corpse of no habeas corpus, here before the law there is nobody here before the law, only the trustees, those ladies in uniform who know the truth of the plastic bag, the truth of the death of citizen Sandra Bland, DOA, before justice. That will carry them to their graves.
of us unemployed, as in me, myself, and I, 3 in 1. What was I to do? I had to find myself another yard, and quick. I was looking for anything, but they were all occupied by men of all races, but still men, and all in the same well-worn uniform as that man who had wanted my gold and who had claimed the world's copper as his own. I knew out of experience to avoid them. I'd initially been attracted by the flickering light issuing from one of the yards I, in my naivety, had assumed to be the light of a television set, a then new phenomenon of technology said to be capable of changing how people viewed one another. And curious about this, I stopped to have myself a look-see, though I did make sure I stayed carefully hidden. A man was saying, "Do you know why this place is so great?" Another said, "No, why?" The man said, "Human beings hang out here." The other laughed. He said, "We can have some fun." I heard a laugh track, some snickers. They were standing around an oil can, which they appeared to be warming themselves. Curious, as it was not a cold night, I noticed they were carrying guns as well as sticks. In fact, they were armed to the teeth, daggers everywhere, bandoliers slung from their shoulders for automatic fire. What happened next was chilly enough. Some Indians appeared, Plains Indians, Assiniboine, I believe, and pre-Spanish contact, as they know horses, just dogs to which they'd attach drag sleds for their wickiups and their cooking pots and whatever, nomads with women and children. The men who had spoken first, who said, "Do you know why this place is so great?" now said, "Ready, boys." The other men laughed and said they were ready. semblance and into the appearance. As an undergrad at the State University of New York at New Paltz, I studied Introduction to Philosophy with Dr. David Applebaum. He was a very tall man, if I remember correctly, and he had a scar that went across his cheek. We were studying Plato's allegory of the cave. He would speak very little and walk around the room slowly and sure-footed. On this day, he said, "Everyone is hiding." Then he walked to the chalkboard, picked up a piece of chalk, and wrote the word hiding on the board. We sat in the classroom staring at each other and waiting for something to happen. I raised my hand and said, "Well, doesn't that mean that everyone in this room is hiding from something?" The class ended. On the truth and lie, in the extra-moral sense, Nietzsche writes, "Truths are illusions. We have forgotten our illusions. Therefore, what we are hiding from is the truth of ourselves." Humans tend to get engrossed in the material because these materials represent the illusions that we wish to believe about ourselves. But truth be told, happiness is the only truth. And quite often, like in the cinema, the truth is created through an illusion that we believe into existence. Furthermore, once the bright lights reveal there is nothing more than a facade hiding nothing, can humans know the truth and perhaps the essence of all humanity, love of the moment that is now? This is what free improvisation allows the performer to do. At the heart of free improvisation is the artist living in the moment and responding truthfully and naturally to the present. In the theater, this is sometimes referred to as seeing and hearing. When one is seeing and hearing, one gains the ability to discern between the truth and the illusion or the appearance versus the semblance of an object. Based on my understanding of phenomenology, the semblance of an object is its signifier or visual representation. On the other hand, the appearance of the object is the signified or actions that define a person. For example, schools, social clubs, occupations, hobbies that a person might do or have during a lifetime. While one semblance can appear to be very relaxed, their actual lives can be quite structured, and vice versa can occur also. Improvisation is a cloak that allows the artist freedom within the structures of art making and society. One artist who embodies this point is Ornette Coleman. He breaks the rules by playing by them. He understands the structure of music and perhaps even uses the ideas of improvisation to reveal one of the truths that music must be organized sound as an illusion. Music can be chaos and it can be random. Free improvisation has both of these qualities. Free improvisational music can be defined as aesthetically pleasing, solely based on the arbitrary opinion of the performer who is also the composer. Coleman's appearance is based on these ideas. However, his semblance is a relaxed, smooth talking, smoking a cigarette man who blows a phosphorescent horn. In addition, through the act of free improvisation, Coleman frees himself from the conformity of pre-existing forms and allows him to move into a formless reality enveloped with music. In closing, free improvisation allows the artist to transcend the limits of their corporal form by creating art in the moment. During this moment, the truth is revealed and there is no hiding illusion. In the moment, there is only now. And the truth that beauty is formless. One, silhouetted figure in the night, in front a blaze, wine and spirits, flat, upside down and translucent, light shine bright, linen tattered but not broken or burnt. Two, a coyote on the loose. Where did those bunnies go that night? Screams were heard for miles, a hail of rubber bullets bouncing off bodies, protesting white supremacy, teeth dripping with blood.